Hello everybody, this is Alisha Costanzo and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be playing Bookopoly. I'm going to be rolling 7 rolls and I'm using my 2 dice instead so that I can potentially get doubles and add more rolls, but I'm trying to keep this manageable because I've been finding it a little bit difficult to fit all of the read-a-thons that I like to participate in with my Bookopoly rolls. So at the moment it looks like I'm probably not going to complete 5 of the books that I planned for in June. Some of them are going to be rolled over, some of them are not. But yeah, let's get into me actually rolling my new books for next month. Okay, last time I ended on Gothic. And we're going to do 6 or 7 rolls. I am doing 2 dice this time because I'm going to enact doubles. Rule number 1. 7. Urban fantasy. Alright, so rule number 1 is urban fantasy, and for that I chose Red Glove by Holly Black. It's the second in a series, which works for the To Be Continued-a-thon, and that's going to be actually my free card. As you can see in this little, it's going to be my free card because I have one for all of them, believe it or not, but we'll get there. Red Glove, second in a series, is about, they're called curse workers, or essentially like witches, and they have the power in their hands and they touch somebody and they can make something happen. Like his mom can make people fall in love with them. He has a special power that I don't want to spoil for anybody who hasn't read the first book, but it's pretty darn powerful. And there's this whole mafia with the curse workers, and it follows him trying, the first one, White Cat, him trying to figure out and come to terms with the fact that he killed one of his best friends that he was in love with. And of course there are reveals about that I'm looking forward to seeing play out in book 2, even though I hate his family so much. But I felt the same way in The Cruel Prince and those 3 books, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to feel this way in these 3 books. And I love Holly Black, so that was a very loose summary of that book. So Urban Fantasy, Red Glove by Holly Black. Roll number 2. 7. Randomize my Goodreads TBR. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Roll number 2 is randomize my Goodreads, and I had some issues with this, guys. I'll try to see if I saved any in the clips, but I had to go through it several times to get something either I owned or that I could get my hands on through my library, or that was cheap on Amazon. And so I rolled probably about 10 times. I probably generated a new number, and I finally landed on somebody that I've read before, Gail Carriger. If you don't recognize that name, watch a couple months past when I read her entire finishing school series, and I'm gonna read Solace. That's the one that came up. So this is another steampunk, so Victorian England. I'm pretty sure these are going to be some badass chicks also dealing with the same thing that I've been dealing with in this, that I haven't been enjoying in this. But she did really well with the other series, so I don't imagine I'm going to have issue with the way she finagles it. So, roll number 3. 3. A community shelf. I'm glad I'm getting some of these cards. So last month I had beautiful cover. I'm gonna just stick that back in there. Shuffle these up. Dragons. Awesome. Roll number 3 is a community shelf, and I got dragons, which is actually perfect. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to do like a 10 chapter challenge again because I have no idea the type of dragon books that I have. And then I remember the Read-a-thon, and one of the prompts is to have Korean mythology in it. And the book that I chose for that originally is Dragon Pearl, and that's by Yoon-ha Lee. I hope I'm saying that right. But dragons, there's all sorts of mythological creatures in this. I know it's young adult or middle grade. We're going to try this out. You guys know how I do with middle grade so far and children and stuff. But as long as this is not a bratty one, I think I will be okay. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the mythology and how Korean mythology differs from Greek and Roman and native mythology, and the ones that I've actually interacted with so far. I've actually interacted with a few more. I like Egyptian mythology as well. I really love Ra and the cycle. But anyways, I like mythology. Dragon Pearl. I might not be able to actually read this during the Read-a-thon because it's on my wait list. It says 6 weeks. I only have 2 weeks until the Read-a-thon, but I'm still gonna read it this month. Fuck it, I'm gonna read it this month because you know what? I don't think I read diversely enough. So this is prompting me to do so, and I like it, and it looks interesting, and it looks like I'm going to be entertained by it. So, Dragon Pearl. Sorry I don't know anything about it. Roll number 4. 4. 1, 2, 3. Dystopia. So roll number 4 is Dystopia. And last month I did a 10 chapter challenge, aka I took 10 books and I read the first chapter in each of those books. They were all romance books on my Kindle app, my phone that I'm recording on right now. And one of them was this at the apocalypse, like they have 3 days to survive before everybody's going to die. And everybody knows that this is going to happen and nobody can really do anything about it. And I've read the first 3 chapters of it or so. I just haven't had time to read it with all the other things that I've been trying to read and failing to read, quite honestly. But I enjoyed it a lot. So that's going to be my pick for this month. For my dystopia is Praying for Rain by B.B. Easton. So essentially, if you are familiar with Ray Bradbury at all, he wrote a story, The Last Night of the World. But this is essentially like a 5 or 6 page story that details this couple talking about how they all know that tonight's their last night on Earth, that everybody's just going to go to bed and nobody's going to wake up. And it is reminiscent of or commenting on the Cold War and the fact that we did not know that at any time pretty much the world could be destroyed by bombs. Everybody has this dream that we're all just not going to survive, and everybody just accepts it, and that is exactly what is happening in this book, although not as peacefully, to be honest. Everybody else in Ray Bradbury's story, they all kind of peacefully just go to bed, decide what the last thing they want to do is. They wash their dishes before they go to bed. Even when they're about to get in bed, one character goes and turns off the sink to make sure it's not dripping, and then comes back and they just kind of laugh about that. And it's rather a comment on, leaving the world better than, even if it's this last day, being who we are and doing things the same way with the same effort that we always have. And that is not true in this apocalyptic world. So far, from what I understand, Rainbow is her real name. We start with her having a dream about the apocalypse and the actual horsemen coming into like a burger joint and absolutely murdering everybody. And she wakes up and we see her go to the same burger joint where she gets attacked by a whole bunch of people for some oxycodone or something like that before somebody saves her, and then he takes her pills. They go shopping. A gang almost tries to rape her. He saves her. They're on the run together. That's the type of world that this is going to be. So I'm pretty interested in, especially since this is a series and this is going to start off a series, I wonder how it's going to play out, because if they only have 3 days to live, is each book going to be a day? Are they not all going to die? And this is going to be for my to be continued read-a-thon. I'm just going to say the to be continued a-thon because that's just easier for me. It's going to be my top TBR, my most excited to read, because I am very excited to read them. It's going to be this corner. Alright, I'm getting a little too excited. Number 5. I got a doubles. Okay, this brings us up to 8 rolls. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Reread a book. Roll number 5 is a reread. Spoiler. Last month, or this month, or June, I did not read Thirst by Christopher Pike. I didn't try to get to my books. I'm so behind on reading anyways that I didn't even bother to pull them out. So what I did, because I found them both for under $6 each, I went and ahead and ordered number 1 and number 2 because I have number 3 and number 4. So they're gonna be here between July 6th and the 21st. So I'm hoping to actually do an entire week of reading those 2 books, and that is the first 6 books in his series, The Last Vampire series, originally titled. Which is the reason why I started writing vampire stuff to begin with. Way back when I was 16 and I read these, and then I fell in love with Christopher Pike. And I want to do this whole year, I would like, or maybe over the next year, so maybe June to June, I want to reread all of his books. This will get me in a nice start to that. I want to see if they hold up, which I'm pretty sure that they do. I know the first one does because I had to reread it in college in order to create a course on vampire literature, which I did for a class. And I also got it published, which was pretty cool. And I got to present on it at a conference. I haven't got to teach it, but I've done all the work and found it really entertaining to go back through it again. Because again, the reason I like vampires is not because of Twilight. It's not the sparkly stuff. It's not even the romanticized bits of it, although I do like that part too. I really like it when they're monsters. And when they're monsters that help people understand things that they didn't understand, which was the purpose of, or why they were mythologized to begin with, why they were created in so many different cultures, is because we didn't know why hair and nails and stuff still grew after we died, but we saw that and we had to figure out how to explain it. We had to figure out how to explain why an infant would just suddenly die in their bed while a vampire crawled through the window and took its soul. You know, there are cultural aspects to it that I really, really like, and there are religious aspects to it that I really, really like, and the culture and stuff is what really, like, feeds my passion for vampires and other mythological creatures. So what Christopher Pike does in this series is he has this girl, and I believe her name is Alyssa, I can't remember, which is terrible that I can't remember that, but she is like the second oldest vampire ever. She was made by the first vampire. She actually had the option to kill the first vampire before it was born and didn't, because she had mercy and she couldn't just kill a baby because she had a bad feeling. And then, of course, he is essentially, I think it's a Hindu god. They have a lot of Hindu religion mythology interwoven with the vampires. She meets Krishna at some point, which is super interesting. And like, just there's alchemy in it. There's a twist on all the different myths. Like, yeah, she can be underwater for a really, really long time and hold her breath for a really, really long time, but eventually she will drown if she doesn't get air. So like, these things are super fun for me, and the fact that I had his as one of my first experiences with vampires kind of shaped the way I look at all of the vampires. So I'm really excited to reread this series, especially since he wrote more after when I finished reading it last time. I can't wait to see what he did with this. If anything's changed in the book since I read them last, if I'll even remember what happened to them. I'm excited. I'm super excited. So there's my reread. It's actually 6 books, 2 volumes. I'm insane. I apparently didn't learn my lesson from this last month. But that's, obviously I didn't read them last month. I'm gonna read them this month. That's how that's working. Let's just go on to the next roll. Roll number 6. 9. A chance card. I'm getting all the cards this month. I like it. So last month I got 2 of these, so I've completed 3 of the chance cards I've had before, which leaves me with 5 little cards. So let's see. Artemis Fowl. Alright. So I got a chance card, which is exciting because I've been getting a lot of cards, and 2, this means I have to read something I actually own. And it's Artemis Fowl. I have had this for I don't know how long. I have the entire series. When were you published? 2002. So I've had this probably 15 years. And I haven't read it yet. So I'm going to. And again, middle grade. What's keeping me going is I've seen a lot of YouTubers, booktubers talk about this book here recently and from their childhood and whatnot. Now, when I got it, I was in my 20s. It was published when I graduated from high school, so I never had a chance to have it influence my childhood. However, the fact that he is supposed to be the bad guy in it gives me the warm tinglies. I love a bad guy perspective. I love it when we have anti-heroes. I love to root for the bad guy sometimes. Sorry. But I'm super excited to read this. So let's see, what does this say? And we can learn about this together. 12-year-old Artemis Fowl is a millionaire, a genius, and above all, a criminal mastermind. But even Artemis doesn't know what he's taken on when he kidnaps a fairy, Captain Holly Short of the Leprechaun Unit. Ooh, yes. These aren't the fairies of bedtime stories. They're dangerous, full of unexpected twists and turns. It's a riveting magical adventure. Stay back, human. You don't know what you're dealing with. Oh, I hope this is as good as I think it's going to be. I really do. I really do. We'll get after it. By the way, that's going to be my procrastinating square, because if 15 years isn't long enough to be considered procrastinating, well, no. That's going to be this little guy. Aha. See, I've got this going at the moment. Alright. Roll number 7 is 6. A retelling. That is perfect. So roll number 7 is a retelling. Fortunately, this fits with some prompts. Well, one specifically, and that is the All the World Stage-a-thon. I think that's the All the World page. All the World's a Page-a-thon, which is a Shakespeare-inspired read-a-thon. Now, I had Shakespeare in college. We had to take a class on Shakespeare. I have read and watched several of the plays, several of the poems, and I am doing 3 of the prompts, the beginner level, because I'll link, by the way, all of the read-a-thons below. She loves Shakespeare, and I love what Shakespeare did to fiction, and to storytelling, and to character development, and all of those things. It's hard to get through Shakespeare. Let's be honest. It's hard to read Shakespeare. So what I found was, one, I'm going to do the retelling, which is one of the 3 prompts, and I'm super excited because my favorite Shakespeare play is Othello. I read a paper on it. I have read it several times. I've seen several of the adaptations to it. Othello is also my favorite character. I love him and Iago. Iago is a great, terrible person. Greatly depicted villain. Like, so many things you can learn about story from this play is ridiculous, and I love how Othello, and even though she gave me a B for this because it was an original thought and I couldn't back it up with sources because that's how original thought works, was that Othello's greatest weakness was his passion. His passion drove everything in him. Of course that was his greatest weakness because that's what overshadowed his ability to trust his wife and to be logical and to not allow emotions to take over. That is his passion. So I love Othello. And after that rant, what I'm going to be reading for this retelling prompt is a retelling of Othello, and that is New Boy by Tracy Chevalier. I hope you Chevalier. Anyways, this is a modern take on Othello, and I'm super excited to see what she does with it. That's all I know, is that it's a modern take on it. I don't know anything about anything else with it. I think it's a new boy at school kind of situation, and that's all I want to know, because I know Othello, and I know I love that story, so I'm gonna read it. And I'm excited. I'm excited about it. In my 8th and final roll, or not, is 10. Horror. So roll number 8. Again, not my last roll. Is horror. This is not something I planned for. This is one of those extra books that doesn't fit into any of my read-a-thons. However, I'm going to be reading something short, and that is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I don't know very much about this other than it is horror, obviously. It's a haunting story. I saw Kate Kavanaugh read it and talk about it in one of her Cooking with Classics. I'm not going to do that, but I was intrigued by her talking about how terrifying it was throughout. And I've read a few things by Shirley Jackson. I teach The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, so I know how she can weave this kind of terribleness slowly into a story, so I'm excited to see how this is going to go. And I'm going to be listening to it on audiobook to make it hopefully even creepier, but we'll see. And my 9th roll, and final roll, hopefully, is 7. Ebook or audiobook? That is easy, because that is most of my books. If y'all know anything about me, you know I like an audiobook. 9 rolls. I can't believe I still got 9. And finally, roll number 9 is an ebook or audiobook, which is like a godsend because I read so many of those anyways that I didn't have to work too hard to fit anything into this prompt. And so my choice for this is Mr. Marshall's Method by Jessa York. This is a book that I've had on my Kindle app for a very, very long time. It looks intriguing. It is also the start of a series, and so I'm going to be using that right back at the start, which is starting a new series, which I'm doing in a few of these. Don't get into me too badly for that, which is right there. So now I'll have that. I'm trying to fill up the whole board, by the way. And I don't know much about this book other than it's like a teacher-student relationship. That's all I know. The cover looks enticing. That's the whole reason for my choice. I own it and the cover looks good. And it's different from the normal thing that I read. So those are my Bookopoly rolls. Now let's go through the rest of my TBR that I might get through next month. After that, I am going to be reading Bad Motherfucker by Jacinda Wilder. Last month in my 10 chapter challenge again, I read the first chapter of book 4, and then I found book 1 for free. So I'm going to read book 1 instead. Another series that I'm starting because I'm ridiculous. But it's the next in a series, in a recent or most recent series, and because I started it and haven't finished it, I'm going to consider that one of my most recent series, and I'm going to give that one a try. The voice in the last one sounded pretty awesome, so I'm excited for that, and I think it's me. These guys. Boom, 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 boom. The 11th one, or I should say, I have it as number 11. It's really number 11 and 12 because it's 2 books, but they're audiobooks. And last time I finished the first one in a day, so I'm hoping that these will go just as quickly. And that is The Elite and the One by Kira Cass. And these, in my to be continued-a-thon, is going to fill up one of my wild cards, as well as The Long Road, at least 3 in a series. So, this one are my next ones I'm going to mark off with my TBR. Fucking A, guys. Fucking A. And last one that I'm absolutely going to commit to getting through is Macbeth by Shakespeare, which I'm also going to listen to on audiobook because, again, I've never actually read Macbeth, which is mind-blowing because I see it referenced in everything, and I've never even seen the play. I don't know the story of Macbeth other than the murder and the going crazy. Like, that's all I know about it. So I'm excited to actually read or listen to the play and understand where this all comes from. I do know about the witches. I do know about the to be or not to be. I know about that. But I don't know what the story is. I don't know the intricacies of the story and the plot. And I'm interested to see why this has been so powerful throughout the world of literature. This has been powerful through and movies, TV, video games. I mean, it's everywhere. So it's about time, Alisha, that you read this. At least listen to it. I'm also going to watch an adaptation, but I don't know which one that's going to be yet. It might be Macbeth 2. It might not be. I don't know. I've seen quite a few adaptations. So far, my favorite has been, I think it's King Lear, because I still love the fact that people got weirded out by people kissing on the lips family. In my Italian family, we do that. In the other side of my family, we don't. So I just find that interesting. And then I have 2 extras that help fill in the other prompts for my read-a-thons. And the first is Gemini by Gemma James. I haven't found it on sale yet. I've been checking every day to see if it goes on sale so I can get it for less than $2.99 for 80 pages. But if I have to bite the bullet and spend $3 on this book, I might. I don't know how she got me, because if you remember the first time I read this 2 months ago, which was Aries, I was so cringy with the rapiness. Book 2, not so much rapiness, but still cringy. Book 3, the dude seems nice, but there are some secrets that are coming, and I want to know what the fuck happens. So she got me, and I'm gonna have to go buy this book. But it's 80 pages, I think I can get through it just fine, and that's going to be for the new kid prompt from my to be continued-a-thon, most recently published, because it is the most recently published of the series that I have been reading, and it's my new kid one, right there. Excuse me, these. I'm only missing this one now. I'm only missing that one. Ooh, that means I got another extra book that's not on my list, which is The Fairest by Marissa Meyer, because I'm finishing Winter. I really should have read it before Winter, but I also read the graphic novel, which is after Winter, so I mean, but I'm halfway through it already, so I'm just going to be finishing that book next month for my boss level villain focus. Alright, and my last book, and then I'm gonna try to get through another audiobook, is I'm gonna butcher this name. I'm sorry. Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. And this is going back to the Korean-a-thon for 2 of the prompts, actually 3 of the prompts it fits, which is awesome. Read a book translated from Korean, read a book with a person on the cover, and featuring a diaspora Korean character. And there's 2 other prompts for this that I really want to do too, that are not book related. One's Korean drama or film. I have 2 saved on my Hulu account right now that I'm excited to watch both of them, to at least watch the first episode of both of them. Super excited about that. And the other one is to make a Korean recipe. I have no flipping clue what recipe I want to make, but I also follow a YouTuber from Korea who does pretty much just ASMR, her cooking and eating stuff. So the things that I watch, I might try mimicking one of hers as long as it's not too spicy, because I can't make things too spicy because of the yahoos. And then I just be making, I mean, I make things for just me all the time, but I'm gonna give this one last look through to see if I missed anything. And those are the books I'm gonna be reading this month. This is the only physical one I have to show you at the moment. I will have 2 more coming, but the rest are not physical books. So I look forward to, I tried to split up the audiobooks in there so that I could like speed through some of these things that I'm gonna find more difficult. But anyways, wish me luck. This is a lot, and if this month, if June was anything to count on, because I couldn't count on May because I read 19 books in May. No, got through 19 books in May. I didn't read 3 of them, but I still 16 books that I read, and right now I'm at like 10. I don't even think it's 10. I have my journal. I'll figure it out. How many books have I read this month? I'm halfway through my 8 and 9. I am gonna get my number 10 because it's a graphic novel, and maybe 11, so 11 books. I mean, that's still not terrible, but I planned so much and I didn't get through it, and that disappoints me. So, 2 of them are moving over, and we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you're having any issues with your reading, if you've read anything fantastic that you would like to recommend me, if you know of a Korean recipe that you think I should try. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you're participating in any read-a-thons, or if you do any TBR games. Please send me links. I love watching those things. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.